welcome to this super duper special episode of the Fools on the Hill podcast, album of the year 2020. I'm today's super special host, Liam.
After much deliberation.
And I'm
Very
joined today
special.
by...
In multiple meanings.
So I haven't introduced either of you yet.
We're here.
I'm joined today by Callum
Hello.
and Yanni.
Why are you pronouncing our names like that?
This is my posh host voice.
Do you want to get your excited host voice on the go? Or what?
Okay, shut up. Throughout the month of January, every Thursday,
There
we'll
it
be
is.
releasing our album of the year lists. Already out in the world somewhere. Is Carl's top 10. Today I will be presenting my top 10. Next week will be Yanni's, and then in the last week we'll be battling it out for our collective top 10. For my top 10, I've opted out of Callum's stupid vinyl rule for obvious reasons. So if you listen to his, you'll understand how stupid that was. Although only one of my top 10 I actually don't have on vinyl, so I almost could have done it.
Oh, we'll get to that, won't we?
But we will get to that. And so, unless there's anything else that needs to be said here,
There is nothing else.
Go and listen to Callum's.
Thank you.
And after mine, though, because mine's probably better.
Well, no, surely if anyone starts a series on episode 2 and then goes back to watch episode 1 or listen to.
I mean, these aren't necessarily serial, are they? You know, Callum's, Liam's. If people like me more, then they'll go to mine first. I think
In
that's
terms
fair.
of time, it kind of is.
Thanks. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started.
I could do.
So, I'm going to get started first of all with my honourable mentions, or as I gave them the header of fighting for 10. Because to be honest, most of these could have been 10, number 10 at least, or at least within the top, or possibly within the top 10 further higher up. And it's a reoccurring theme for most of these that I probably, if I'd listened to them more, they could have made that number 10. Particularly number 10. I feel that was very, very much in contention till the end. But anyway, I'm going to rattle through these because quite a few. King Cruel's album Man Alive, Phoebe Bridges' album Punisher, Nap Eyes' album Snapshot of a Beginner, Roland Blackout's Coastal Fever's album Sideways to New Italy, Tongue's album Dead Club, Fontaine's DC's album A Hero's Death. I've very much enjoyed all those albums this year. Could have been 10 with a bit more time. And kind of top of that list, spoilers for Callum's, but similar to you, Cal, there's Eve Tumer's album Heaven to a Tortured Mind.
Oh, they have been absolutely blasted by you two, haven't they?
Honestly, neither of us have given them the
Credit.
shine they
Shine.
deserve.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Hey.
But yeah, a fantastic album. I know it is, but I don't know what it is. This was one that really was a struggle for me, whether it was in top 10 or not. But I didn't feel like I'd given it. I couldn't put my full heart behind it, I guess. But they crafted a wonderful album there. So I implore you all to listen to it. An added one onto this list for fighting for 10 with a bit more time is the HMLTD album West of Eden.
Wow.
Which I only heard very recently for the first time because of these conversations. So I guess you should listen to Callum's first because it makes more sense.
We've mentioned this.
But an album that when I listened to for the first time, loved. And I've listened to it quite a lot lately.
Well, no, that's completely untrue and the opposite of what you said on Callum's.
Yep. You
No,
are
because-
lying to try and
Well,
seem
because
cool.
it's not the first time you've listened to it, because I told you to listen to it at the very start of the year. And
You
was
did.
like,
I didn't listen to the album.
right,
though.
right. And now you've re-listened to it and you realise how much of a fool you've been.
I am a fool on hell. And
Mhm.
I didn't listen to it in full when you told me to, Yanni. I listened to like one or two songs. So recently is the first time I've listened to the full album, and I wish I'd listened to it earlier, and I think it could have cracked top 10 potentially.
Yeah.
But some of the others I've just mentioned possibly would still be above. But yeah, that's a quick run.
Quick.
Rapid.
Quick.
It was so
Whistle Stop
fast I
Tour.
didn't even hear you. It was like a blur.
If you play
some
this
great albums
on,
there.
if you play this on 1.5 speed, that would have been quick.
Shut up. Some great albums. I also have a couple. I have 2 other albums here. Honorable mentions.
Not quite honourable enough.
No, these are slightly different
Honourable mentions.
because I would say that both of them would definitely have been within
Well,
the top 10.
hang on a minute. Are these going to be bands or artists that haven't been released this year?
No.
Okay then.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end.
Okay.
Thanks, spoilers. We had some rules in terms of our top 10. Fairly standard rules.
Okay.
No live albums, no soundtracks, no compilations. Fair enough. However, this year 2 albums have been released that fall under those categories.
He's going to talk
I
about
love
it again,
Very
yeah.
much.
He is. I can see it.
Yeah.
It's
I'm going
happening.
to start with the first one, which isn't the one you're talking about, which is Ezra Furman's Sex Education OST, the soundtrack to Sex Education on Netflix. Great show. Very good show. Go and watch it. Ezra Furman's soundtrack is incredible. It fits in the compilation as well because it's basically a compilation of most of their best songs. I think there's 1 or 2 new ones for the show, but it's incredible work of art. The music's beautiful, and it would have been probably in my top 10 if it was allowed. So thank you, Ezra, for that. And the second one, which definitely would have been top 10, very high probably, but it's a live album. I guess kind of a compilation as well, the way it's built. But the War on Drugs album, Live Drugs, which I've talked about a lot. Incredible. One of the best live albums I've ever heard. One of the best albums I've ever heard. Go and listen to it. It's fantastic. Do yourself a favour.
Perfectly.
Anything to say?
That was.
Anything to say? Anything to add?
No, it was all agreeable. I can't wait for you to finally head to your number 10.
Well, we've arrived. Yeah, here we are, number 10.
Ding dong.
Let's get crack-a-lacking. Ding dong. So number 10, I'm starting off with Idol's album Ultra Mono. I've already mentioned this was the most contentious spot on top 10. I'm still not 100% kind of convinced it should be here, but
It's locked in now, mate. You've said it.
it's locked in now. It's locked in. I'm a big fan of Idols. Very much enjoy the first 2 albums. I was very much looking forward to this album. Some of the singles beforehand, Grounds, Mr. Motivator, some very good songs. And then the album came. The singles again were still very good. There was a few album tracks that were good, but as a whole package, I just don't know why, but it just doesn't do it for me. And
Yes,
I can't explain
I was quite disappointed by the album. Not gonna lie.
Mhm.
Watching interviews of it though, I think they themselves expected people to be disappointed by it.
Oh really?
Always a
in the
great sign
sense-
for a new album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the sense of it's very bare bones, like most of the stuff is, but like this one is extremely. It's like the most concentrated Idols. That's what I was looking for.
Yep.
And yeah, I just it's not really what I was expecting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I hope
No, I
they
agree,
go
and it's
somewhere
Go
new
on.
with it. I will,
Mhm.
thanks, Tim. I hope they go somewhere new on their
It's my top 10.
next album, as in, incorporate newer sounds. It's difficult with the type of stuff they do because they need to have a certain style, otherwise it's not recognisably Idols. Which obviously everything they've released is, the minute you hear it, you're like, okay, this is an Idols track. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what they can do, but I just hope it's not this again.
I agree.
Um,
I agree, and I think it's weird because I feel like in many ways this album is very much a kind of growth from the first 2 albums, or like an amalgamation of some of the stuff from those first 2 albums, but then somehow feels removed from it. I don't know.
Regressive.
Yeah, maybe. Like maybe those 2 albums came from this almost. It's kind of like a
That's how it feels, yeah.
yeah. It's a weird one, but it's still a very good album.
So
Yeah.
when this was released, Liam, you
Yes.
had it on a lot because I remember me and Yanni both said that we weren't really keen on it,
Mhm.
and you were raving about it. Do you think your initial thoughts on the album were blinkered by the fact that you love Idols, which has made it go in your top 10, if that makes sense?
I would say, to a point, yes. I wouldn't say necessarily I was raving at the time, or I wasn't intentionally raving at the time.
I think you said at one point it's their best album. I'm
you did.
almost certain you said that. Which
I think it's there are some tracks on this album that I think are some of the best songs they've done.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So, which
Grounds.
is possibly where that was influenced. Yeah, Grounds, I Love Rains, Him, some of the fantastic songs. I might as well do my other two top songs, Anxiety and Kill Them with Kindness. They're my kind of top songs from the album.
Did you know, Jamie Cullum has a writing credit on Kill Them with Kindness?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
I did know that, yeah.
I don't know how I knew
Strange.
that, but I did know that. I would say, yes, being a fan, I'd pre-ordered the album and 3 vinyl variants. I was very much looking forward to it. Maybe was actually initially disappointed, slightly. And maybe kind of overplayed that.
No.
I'm telling you, like, do you know when you kind of trying to convince yourself that it's actually good? And I think that's what I did.
Feel like you're chatting shit.
Yeah, based on how you spoke to us, Liam, you were honestly so complimentary.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You said to Yanni, wait until it comes on record to listen to it on good speakers, and then you'll get it. That's what you said.
Maybe I did.
You did say that.
It definitely. I definitely think I was trying to convince myself at the time that I liked it, and so was doing the same to you. I think it's grown on me more than I actually liked it originally, personally. I think I was lying to myself and I was lying to you.
That's not very Christmassy.
But that doesn't detract from the fact that I've listened to it a lot lately for this, and I still think it's a great album. I think there are some lows, and I think, like, Natouche Pas Moi, for example, it's not a good song. And there's a few... let me just say, I'm very much behind the message of that song, but I don't think it's a good song. And I think what Yanni said before hits all the nails on the head. It's just not their best piece of work, but I still enjoyed it. And in terms of, like, the singles from the album, were a big part of the soundtrack of 2020 for me. So that's why I felt like I needed to have it on the album.
Such a dickhead thing to say. It's definitely the soundtrack of 2020, yeah.
Any more questions? We're going to number 9.
No, number 9.
Can we go on to
Number 9?
Number 9. We have the album Collector by Disc with a Q.
Disc what?
Q.
Quisk.
This Quisk.
Disc with a Q. Quisk.
Yeah, Disc with a Q. Quiz.
Yeah,
I got it, mate. I got it. I laughed.
So I didn't know this band before I heard this album. I think they'd only had like one single out beforehand, and they've had one single out since. That's it. Yeah, what can I say? I don't know where I saw it, to be honest. They're probably just from people talking about it. But very much liked it. From the first time I heard it, I liked it, and there's a few standouts. And then the more I've listened to it, it's definitely a grower.
Like me?
Like Yanni. I can confirm. Standout tracks, D19, Loneliness, Gentle, Drumming. Probably my favourite songs.
Fun Song 4.
Pardon?
Fun Song 4. Was that not
Fun Song 4 is good. That's the instrumental. I wouldn't say it's my favourite song. I think it's very different to the rest of the songs. It kind of feels like it doesn't fit in, but it's still good. So, but yeah, I don't like the first few songs, but they're not my favourite. It definitely is like on the middle towards the end that it's best. But yeah, I very much like it. I'm looking forward to hearing more from them. I'd be interested to hear. I feel like they've got some good ideas. I feel like they can make good music. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with that in the future. I think the second album will be very good, hopefully.
Superb.
But yeah, that's my number 9.
I listened to this for the first time minutes before this podcast, and
of course,
the minute I heard it, I was like, yeah, this is the Liam album. This immediately was like, yeah, I can see why this is on Liam's top 10. I also enjoyed it and will be listening to it more now, now that I know it exists. So that's all I have to say on it, really. It sounds good.
Cool.
Listen to it.
Callum, what do you think?
I hated every second of it.
Love it.
Wow.
I didn't hate every second of it. That's a lie. Fun Song 4 was by far and away my favourite. I think I had a bit of an issue with the lead singer's voice, which is why I think I liked.
I really like his voice.
You don't like American singers much, do you?
I think he's got quite a good voice.
Not
actually.
over. Not,
He's got a
not
good
when,
voice, yeah, but
yeah, he's a good singer, but I don't like it when American accents really shine through, because it just sounds. I don't know. I can't connect with it.
Callum, do you like Parquet Court?
Yes, I've only heard the album with Mardi Gras beads on. Is it Total Football? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That's the only.
I
album
think
of
his
theirs
voice
I've
is
heard.
quite similar to the singer from there. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And the first song on this album, Daily Routine, sounds very Parquet Court.
Fair enough. I've
But
not
that's
listened to
the
them for
weird
a
thing-
while though.
That's the thing about this album is it does seem to be a few different styles and kind of going for a few different things, which makes
Yeah.
it kind of not too coherent. But that's why I'm looking forward, I think, to a second album where they can.
Yeah. I also
own
quite
that.
liked. I also quite like Gentle, and I Want to
Mhm.
Die, but I thought it just went on a bit. I
So-
don't
no,
know.
mate, come on. If you want
Yeah.
to talk to us, we're here. You need to say stuff like that.
But like, I Want to Die is another one that doesn't seem to fit on the album. I think
I think that's why I probably liked it, because
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the album on the whole. I thought Gentle sounded quite shoegaze musically, which is why I didn't finish that point. I didn't like the album on the whole, which is why I think Fun Song 4 and I Want to Die, the tunes that didn't really fit, were the ones that appealed to me most.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't be opposed to listening to them again. As you say, the album's a grower,
hmm
so maybe, but probably
It's
not.
actually one that, like, when we first talked about doing album of the year a few months ago, whenever,
Yeah,
I thought about it and kind of didn't really consider it too much.
yeah.
And it was pushing for the top 10 for a while. And then the more I've listened to it, it made its way up to number 9. So it's definitely a grow.
I think it's something that if us three went on a day out somewhere, like we were driving to Manchester for a gig, I'd happily have it on in the car, but I don't think I'd ever put it on if I was by myself.
Yeah, makes sense.
Maybe.
It's a good album. It's my number 9 disc collector favourite song, Gentle. I agree with Colin.
That wasn't my favourite song, but
Yeah, I
thank you
know,
for
but
agreeing
it was
with
one
me.
of your favourite songs, sorry. Number 8. On to number 8. We have the album The Night Chances by Baxter Dury. Again. What? Oh, that's sorry. I don't think that's in order on what you're looking at.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
But it's to keep it anticipation up.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't. Do you want me to fix that? Are you
No,
okay?
no, it's fine.
Cool.
It's fine.
The Night Chances by Baxter Dury. So, first time hearing about this artist, Baxter, this year again. Got very into all of his stuff. But this last album of his is very good. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but I'm glad. I think this was the first one I heard, and I'm glad that it made me listen to the rest of his stuff. Top songs: I'm Not Your Dog, Slumlord, Saliva Hog, Cole's Got a Boyfriend. I realised I just read most of the songs here. Hello, I'm Sorry, Say Nothing. I just think that I really like his way of songwriting. Very direct and kind of quite vulgar in ways. The very first line of this album is "I'm not your fucking friend." That's
Yeah.
the first 5
Your
words.
fucking friend.
I read somewhere that someone referred to him as a what was the word now? What was the phrase? The sleazy man's Leonard Cohen. The sleazer's Leonard Cohen or something like that. I think that makes sense. I think he the way he kind of delivers stuff is quite Leonard Cohen-ish, but on like a different wavelength. Musically, some great bass lines, very good bass lines. And there's always a female singer, and I think it would complement each other really well. But yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
Good
I
listen to it.
really liked I'm Not Your Dog. The moment that comes on, it's like instant tune.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big one.
Instant tune. Fat. Go on, Carl. You've got notes.
Go on,
I
Carl.
haven't.
I did not like this album when I first heard it. I just thought
Okay.
I thought it was all right. I said I didn't like it. But I put it on again today, and I think I've kind of clicked with it.
Mm-hmm.
because I really liked everything, particularly I'm Not Your Dog and Slumlord. But yeah, I think again it's going to be a grower clearly from the fact that I didn't like it first time. But
Yep.
yeah, do we know who the female singer is?
I've no idea.
Because I thought
no
it
idea.
really sounded like Liz Lawrence, who sings with Bombay Bicycle Club. But
I do know that she's on everything he's done.
brilliant. It's probably not.
There's
Liz
always
Lawrence then, is it?
There's always a female singer with Boxer Jury, but I'm not sure. I have tried to find, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. But
Probably not.
I couldn't
It's probably on the
find
album.
out
It's
who.
probably on the album.
Yeah.
Credits. Isn't it? But
Well,
yeah,
to be honest,
I'm
I could check actually. But,
a big fan.
Go on.
I'm definitely gonna carry on listening to this.
good. And I would say, like I said before, this isn't my favourite album of his.
Okay.
I'd say Happy Soup probably is. Or he did an album with two other artists, Etienne de Crace and someone else, something like that, called BED, and that's also very good. But
Bidet.
yeah, it's a Bidet, yeah. But so that's Baxter Jory. Also, I don't know if you knew this, probably did. Son of
Yeah.
Ian Jory. Is his
Yes.
name Ian?
Ian.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was worried that wasn't his name then. Ian
Hit
Jory and the Blockheads.
Me.
Hit Me With Rhythm Stick fame. It's his son, which I thought was pretty cool.
You could say it's
Nothing like
a
it.
reason to be cheerful.
You could, unlike this next one. For you two, which is my number.
Right,
Oh,
get out of the way.
out of the way.
Get it out
yeah.
of the way.
Fuck this one off.
The fact that
My
this
number
is above
6.
Baxter Jury, even above
Mm.
your honourable mentions,
Yeah.
even
I,
above the worst album of the year.
The order on some of these were very movable, but this is what I landed on. So, number 6 is Kevin Morby's album Sundowner. Already a somewhat fan of Kevin Morby before this album. We did review this, I think, on a practice pod, which maybe you'll get to hear one day, and you'll know just how Callum and Yanni feel about this album. But I very much like it. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. It's very much it's a relaxing album to me. It doesn't, not a lot happens, but it does well with what it does. Favourite songs are Valley, Campfire, Wonder, Jamie. To be honest, I like all songs. I think the only one I don't love is Brother Sister, but I don't hate that song. Campfire is probably my favourite song on the album. The more I listen to it, the more I love it. So, go on, you two, just tell me what you're going to say.
I do not like this at all.
Okay.
If we ever do release the practice one, we did this, you'll know exactly how it felt. So I'm not going to stay on a massive downer, but just it's not for me, and I know it wasn't for Cal either. It's not our style. It's not our thing. Yep. For me, it's not exciting enough, I think, is the problem.
Yep.
That's all it is. I need stuff to be
It's a fair
exciting
criticism.
or to make me feel something other than boredom, complete and utter boredom. And unfortunately, this does the opposite.
I know we should be aiming questions at Liam, but I want to aim a question at you, Yanni. Did you listen to this again in the lead up to
Absolutely
this?
fucking not. I did
No,
not
neither
want to
did
put
I.
myself through that misery.
Oh, thanks.
I
Thanks, guys.
lied to Liam.
You especially, Callum, promised you would listen to this
I did
again.
promise, but you also said you'd listen to mine, and those two of
I
mine
listened
you
to some
didn't
of
listen to. So.
Okay,
But yeah,
I'll let
it
you off.
wasn't for me. Never will be for me. Never gonna listen to it
Fair
again. No.
I like it. If you like Kevin Morby, you'll like it. On to the next one.
Yay.
My next album is the album. Is it? Hang on, check what it's called. Yeah,
It should be an
The
album.
Neon Skyline is an album. The Neon Skyline by Andy Schoff. I'm gonna call him Schoff. I don't know how you pronounce it. I say it different every time I say it. Schoff, Schoof,
I'd
Schoff.
have gone with Shelf, but
Schoff
Sure.
just doesn't seem right. I'm
No,
gonna say Andy Schoff. I think if you're American, you say like Schoff.
Shelf.
show off.
So I'm gonna say Schoff. I'm gonna say Andy Schoff.
They say Graham like Graham though, so what do they fucking know?
True, graham crackers and all that shit. Andy Schoff and the Neon Skyline, another artist I hadn't heard of before this year, and listened to this album completely randomly. I think it had been released on that day, and I just thought I'd put it on in bed one night, and loved it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's basically, it's essentially a I wouldn't say it's a concept album necessarily, but the whole album tells a story. It's one continuous story from beginning to end. Quite a humorous story. I think musically it's brilliant. I really like it. There's a lot of kind of different styles throughout the songs, but they all sound similar as well, so it doesn't seem kind of out of place. And Andy himself has quite an unusual accent, I'd say. He's from Saskatchewan, I think, in Canada.
That definitely sounds how you should pronounce it.
Maybe not. From there. Sorry, somewhere in Canada. Somewhere in Canada, and he's got quite a different accent for singing, which is something you have to get used to, but I quite like it. Yeah, he's from Saskatchewan. Yeah, wouldn't say there's necessarily any standout. I guess it's the same for kind of the rest of the. What number is this? Is this 5? Yeah.
Yep.
No, this is 6. What are we on?
Top
6.
5.
Are we recording?
We're not on top 5 yet. This is 6. I wouldn't say necessarily there's any standout. I'd say 13 Hours is probably my standout track. But only because it's got a really good guitar line.
Is that how long we've been recording for?
13 hours, yeah. But I would say it's an album to be enjoyed as a whole, and I think it's very good.
On your whole, how does it feel?
Tingly.
Okay. Callum,
you
like telling us how it feels on the whole, so...
I did. Do you know what? My whole was pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
As we have just previously alluded to with Liam's choice
You said
of music.
There we go.
It's very
in
hit
every
and miss.
podcast.
Liam's music taste is very hit and miss for me. It's either there's very rarely an in between. It's either I love it or I despise it.
Good.
But now we have just a little handy shelf-shaped hole in the middle of that.
Oh, lovely.
I can't imagine I'm ever going to listen to it again. I won't lie to you. But I enjoyed my 34 minutes with the album. I did think that it felt very long, which when an album is 34 minutes, that's not really a good sign. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Good.
I wouldn't say it was the 6th best album of the year. Sorry, Yanni. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Album of the year.
Yeah, go on, Yanni.
Just out of interest, Liam, is this? Have you got this one on vinyl?
Interestingly enough, Yanni, this is the one of the 10 that I don't have on vinyl.
Shouldn't be in your list then, should it?
No.
No, because you made a fucking stupid rule.
Clearly, you
but
don't
do you know
like
what could be in my top 10 if we did do that? Eve Tumor, because I've got their album on vinyl.
Hey,
Like
it's ordered, but Banquet Records haven't updated my order.
I supported a local record store for that. I went and picked it up myself.
Do you want a round of applause?
Yes, I don't have. Shut up. I don't have this on vinyl, sadly, but I am intending to at some point. Nintendoing. So yeah, on the shelf, and I went back and listened to his previous album, The Party, I think it's called. Again, an album which is like all the songs are basically telling the story of a party and like different characters and stuff in the party, different people. And I just quite like that. I quite like that kind of storytelling. I think he does a really good job. Next up, and we have now entered the legendary top 5. Here we are.
Halfway there,
My
guys.
Halfway there.
Keep with us.
Right.
Oh my god.
How long have we been? This isn't even long.
No, it's
not
under half
really-
hour and there'll be stuff to cut out. So.
Exactly. Yours was as long.
Yeah, no, but I'm entertaining to listen to.
Shut up. So, number 5, we have Bombay Bicycle Club's album, Everything Else Has Gone Wrong. I would say, in terms of being a fan of Bombay Bicycle Club, I liked his first album. Very much enjoyed, liked their
I was
first
going to
album.
say it. I thought you
I'm
said
a strong
it.
guy. I like their first album, and I
Did
think
you just
Flaws was the second
assume?
album. Assume a group of people are all
One person.
yeah, that's how it works. The second album I think was Flaws. I think it was the second album. Loved that, which is the most different to all the other albums. And then since then I've liked a few singles here and there. So I'd put this on a cold afternoon in January, don't know when it was, beginning of the year, and was very much pleasantly surprised. The singles I'd heard, so Eat, Sleep, Wake, and the title track, Everything
Repeat.
Else Has Gone Wrong, I had heard on the radio and stuff, and quite like them, but didn't really care massively much for them, whatever that means. But listening to it in full, loved it. Is it real? I Can Hardly Speak. I Worry About You.
Don't we know?
All them.
Too quick for me there, yeah. I was trying.
Very funny. All top tunes, but I think I love all the songs really. And now we're in the top 5. I think it's pretty much a common theme that I like all the songs on the album. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant album. I've listened to it a lot. I really like it, and I don't know what else to say.
I am glad that you put this on because I haven't listened to it since it was released. I completely forgot about it, to be honest. And having to go back and listen to it and actually doing it for once, I really, really enjoyed this. Very nice. It is nice on a cold day when it's warm inside, all snuggly.
It is.
It's just cozy. It's a cozy album.
It is indeed.
Callum?
Oh,
Colin?
jinx.
I think you gave us your 4th last week on this. It didn't make your top 10, did it?
It didn't. No, it was in my honourable mentions. I think it's a good comeback from the band. My highlights were Get Up, Everything Else Has Gone Wrong, and Eat, Sleep, Wake. But yeah, I don't know. I always struggle with full albums when it comes to Bombay. But like you said, I think this is their most consistent for a long minute. So
Sure.
hopefully they don't go
Very
off
good.
and do their own things again, because I like Mr. Duke's stuff, the lead singer. But hopefully they do more stuff, because we like Bombay, don't we, boys?
Or do a little
Yes.
bit of Bombay.
I think it's about
Yes.
time we went to see them live.
Yes. I'd
Yeah.
love to see this album live. It'd be
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. There we go. Number 5. Bombay Bicycle Club. Thank you.
Moving on up.
Number 4. It's rapidly approaching this number 1 spot here. Number 4. I feel sad that it's almost over. Do you know what I mean?
I
I feel
don't
we
know.
should take a second
Someone
just
has
to reflect on this. Number 4, we have The New Abnormal from The Strokes. The Strokes, again, similar to Bombay. The Bombay
Not at all.
Heaps.
A completely different band.
No, sorry. Let me finish what I'm saying. Similar to Bombay Bicycle Club in the sense that I like a few albums and then singles here and there. Never really fully clicked with them. But I love this album when I first put it on. I wasn't expecting much from it because of what I've just said. But yeah, love it. Standout is probably the closer, Road to the Mets, but Adults Are Talking, Selfless, they're all good. They're all good songs. I don't think there's no bad low point. For me, it's some of the best stuff that they've done. And some of the stuff that singer Julian Casablancas does. I love it when he kind of like shouts. I love it. Oh, it makes me quiver. No, I really do. I really do like it, and that's in like "Ode to the Mets" and what's the other song that does it? Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I think it's a very, very good album. Clearly, put it as number 4, so of course I think that. And I think they came back for me from a relative low
The
period
Dead.
from the dead with a bang. I think it's a brilliant album.
The band.
Yeah. I'm not personally that big a Strokes fan, which I've never really understood, because they seem like a band that I should love, but I've just never really. I like you. I've just never really got it, which has always been of detriment to Yanni and my friendship. I feel like he judges me
Mm-hmm.
every night before he goes to
I feel the
bed,
same.
and
Massively.
wishes Liam and I to be slain in the night,
I
But-
say a little prayer.
like Duran Duran.
Mm-hmm.
I'll save a prayer.
No,
don't
that's
I?
saving one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For everyone listening, by the way, when I mentioned this album's name, Yanni did
Little
what did you
fist,
say?
Ejaculate.
Fist bump. Fist. Yeah, he loved it.
Fisted myself.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the record. There was no bad song, in my humble opinion. My favourite 2 are Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus and Eternal Summer. Definitely going to carry on listening to the album, because I had to listen to a lot of music today, which I'm aware is a real first world problem. But I feel like that hindered my enjoyment somewhat. and I still really enjoyed it. So that's a good sign that this is an album for me. So,
Yeah, man.
Yanni, enlighten
Thank
us.
you. I can't too much. Spoilers. But yeah, this is. I love the Strokes if it isn't already completely obvious to everyone listening. One of my favourite bands ever. And I can appreciate that they've dropped off massively since the first two albums, really. There's never been like a full album that I'll put on besides the first two. It's always the odd single. They released an EP a couple of years ago, which was alright. And then Julian's done some stuff with The Voids, which was weird as fuck. But this is definitely the best thing they've done since Room on Fire. It's phenomenal, and yeah, did not expect to like it as much. So
yeah,
I think that was everyone's takeaway. Even though it was produced by Rick Rubin, who seems to have a knack for reinvigorating bands or artists that have
venting.
No, Yanni was correct.
No.
Reinvigorating.
Yeah.
Invigorating.
Shut up. I've used the right word. So he seems to have a knack for that when they're like with Johnny Cash, he hadn't been releasing anything for ages. Like he dropped off people's radars, and then he started working with Rick Rubin again, and then you've got the cover of Hurt, which everyone knows, and everything like that. So Rick Rubin seems to be the
guy,
the doctor, when it comes to ill bands or artists. But yeah, it's phenomenal. I love this album, and that's what I'm going to say.
Thank you, Yanni, for agreeing with me. So that's the
Well,
number 4. The
when you're
Strokes.
right, it's hard not to.
And I'm often right. So into the top 3,
No.
where I'm the most right.
Laughing to yourself there.
Top 3. Number 3, we have the album Zeros by Declan McKenna.
Wow.
Now, I want to say just before going to, I should have said this just before. The second and third is swapped a lot.
Spoiler for what's
this is where I'm
number 1.
landing. Yeah, number 1's been number 1 since I heard it for the first time, so it's always been up there. But number 3, Declan McKenna, Zeros. Again, it's just a great album. Every song's good. It's some of the best stuff he's done. I guess, Callum, you said similar stuff last on your.
I did, yeah. Which is further proof that
Matured.
if you've started this episode or started listening to the podcast on episode 2 of this mini-series, you are a fool and you should have listened to
You
my
are.
episode first.
Yeah, too late now though. We're on to number 3. So
I'd like to go one step further and say you're a fucking idiot if you've done that. Carry on, Liam.
Thank you. Yeah, some of the most mature stuff he's done, much more cohesive than his first album. I love this first album, and I've said this before, and Callum, you, what's the word? Paraphrased it. Is that the word?
I don't know
On
what
your
point you're going to
top
make.
10. That it's the album that you wanted from Declan McKenna.
I
his
actually
first album,
believe that
kind
you
of
said
about
this,
realism.
and I have not once uttered them words.
This is what I've said. This is what I just said. I originally said it, and then you
Um,
paraphrased it.
I
Is
don't
paraphrase the right word? You said it on your top 10. I listened to it today, mate. You did say it.
Did I?
You said, I think you, Liam, said this. And I'm saying it again.
I'm sure
I'm
Yanni
claiming
mentioned it. I
myself.
didn't mention that, but I do. I don't know. You would never have got this album without the first album, so I don't really
Yeah,
see
okay.
that being a valid point.
What was my point? I don't know what you.
I don't know. Carry on.
Are we
what
not
I'm
finished
saying
this yet?
is,
Still doing
what I'm saying is, I loved this first album. I thought it was brilliant. And then when this album came out, I realised the potential that you had, obviously, and it was realised in this album. And didn't necessarily know that I was missing it from my life. So on that, it's a better album, I think, than the first album. It's my third favourite album of the year. I think it's brilliant. Standout tracks probably Twice Your Size, maybe, or Daniel, You're Still a Child. This is one where I originally heard the singles on the radio and didn't really like them, which would be Daniel, You're Still a Child, Beautiful Faces, and
Key to Life on Earth.
Key to Life on Earth. Wasn't really a fan and didn't pre-order the album, which I wish I had, because I got a better copy. and then didn't listen to it until the album came out, and then listened to it on repeat and a great number of times. But yeah, brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's doing next. I can see him growing into something big, I think. It's a big boy. No, I can see it, like
I thought you were gonna say
his
that.
music getting somewhere. I can see it becoming. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. Number
Fucking
two.
hell.
At number 2, we have the album "Deep Down Happy" by Sports Team. Number
Shock.
2. This was a very greatly anticipated album by myself. I've very much liked Sports Team for a little while now. All the singles and EPs before this. It was, yeah, like I say, very much looking forward to the album coming out. It came out. A good chunk of the album has already been released in some form or another previously. So at first, I felt a little bit disappointed by it, because I thought I've heard like 7 or 8 of these 12 songs already. And the new ones, some of them didn't quite do it for me. One of them did straight away, Born Sugar, which is still my favourite track. But yeah, at first I didn't love it. Over the time, and especially since listening to it specifically for this, I think when I first compiled this list a few weeks ago, it was 5th or 6th. And listening to it over the last couple of days especially, that's bumped it right up to 2nd place. I realise now, I remember why I was excited for the album in the first place, because these songs are fantastic. I think I was maybe a bit burnt out at that point, and like I said, I'd heard most of the songs before. But the new songs on the album, as I said before, especially Born Sugar, and some of the others are brilliant, and the existing songs are brilliant. They're a great band. I love it so much. I have it 12 times on vinyl. Sorry, I'm boring you.
Sorry, I'm tired.
Can't cut that out now, can you?
No, I did tell you not to do that every week.
I know. Yanni, I did think, Yanni, he's got to leave him now. He's got to let me on.
No, it's funny that he's yawning on your specific one when we talk about how long you ramble on for. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
You own it too many times on vinyl.
I do.
Although one day that's sure to earn you lots of money, or
Hopefully.
lots of points for your indie son or daughter, or
Talking of that,
whatever
the
they want to be.
the picture disc.
Talking of that, I'm not pregnant.
No, the picture disc was in a record store's sale the other day for a tenner.
Oh, don't, mate. Don't. Yeah.
The Alex and Rob, that one, which
Yeah.
I thought that's probably the one people want most.
You could very shortly afterwards get all 3 of them for like 40 quid. And I stood out in the fucking pissing rain, freezing cold, and spent, I don't know, 66 grand or something like that. But, and I did already
Fucking
own the
hell,
album 9 times, because I'm an idiot. But, I guess
You
it
knew
makes
that
sense.
already.
It's my 2nd favourite album of the year.
Exactly. And if you don't own your 2nd favourite album of the year 13 times on record, what's the
Can
point?
you even claim that? Can you claim it's your 2nd favourite album if you don't own it that many times?
Exactly. But yeah, I'll take any questions, any thoughts before we
We
hit number
all
1?
we all
love
this
Clover.
album. Fucking hell.
I wanted to do
we
that in the last episode.
Yeah, we love the band, we love the album. Anticipated highly by myself. Also, we've spoken about this before, this album, so I don't really want to go back over any points.
Yeah, go and listen to my episode for the 4th time.
Carl, did you have these? These were your 2nd and 3rd as well, weren't they? But the other way around.
They were, yeah.
They were the other way around for me up until I think this morning.
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
I think the same.
I
The
don't
same.
know.
The same. I had the same problem. My top 3, I was all over the place with. So, like, I think I said it in the episode. If we'd have recorded on another day, the top 3 probably would have been different. But looking back, I am happy with my ordering.
Yeah.
So
I think I'll be happy with it.
yeah.
Now we have reached the
Peak.
pivotal point, the peak.
Love that.
So many plosives in this. We have reached the top of the top 10. My number 1 spot. Should I do a quick run through of the bottom 9
Oh,
first?
absolutely not. Do that.
Nope.
Do that after all 10, like I did, like
Oh.
a normal person.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. And the number 1 spot, we have debut album from the band. There's a lot of debut albums on this.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's not a lot. There's a few debut albums on this list. But number 1 spot is debut album from the band. Sorry.
It's all right, mate. You don't need to
Yeah,
apologise.
Okay. And the album is called 925.
Like Dolly
Now-
What a way to make a living. Hey?
That's it. 925. The first
What
time
a
I
way
heard
to
it-
make a living, eh?
For fuck's sake. First hearing the first point I'd heard of this album was the song "Perfect."
First hearing
which-
point.
Shut up. The song "Perfect" came on a random just playlist on Spotify, and boy, am I glad it did. "Perfect" probably one of my favourite songs of the year. I think if my Spotify Wrapped, it was maybe second below "Born Sugar" from Sports Team.
Second, fifth,
Um,
I don't matter.
Sorry?
No, I don't matter. I'm not going to argue it.
Yeah, perfect favourite song, and I think it's just chock full of bangers right around the clock, in unison. Snake, Starstruck, Rock and Roll Star, Heather, More. I think even the ones in between those are all great songs. Interestingly enough, although this is number 1, there's a couple that I don't love, but I also don't really have a problem with them at the same time. But I think exciting band.
Offend you.
Don't offend me.
No.
Very exciting band. I'm very looking forward to see what they do next. A female and male vocalist, and I think it works very well. Their instrumentation's brilliant. I think songwriting, or more like the song building, I guess, in terms
Structure.
of structure of songs. Yeah, exactly that. The structure of songs and the way they build things up and the way they mix things round is
Better than Bob.
better than Bob. I just think it's great, and I think some of the lyrics are quite humorous or quite deep in points.
Deep in your point.
It's my favourite album of the year. It's 925 by Sorry.
Lovely.
And that's all I have to say on it.
Well,
really. I don't know what else to say. I love it.
That is good. I'm glad you recommended
your
me
thoughts?
Perfect. Well, if you'd let me speak.
Please. Yeah.
I'm glad you suggested me listening to them. I can't speak. Suggest I listen to them. Yeah, Perfect is like one of the best songs of 2020
Yep.
by a country mile.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, just mirroring the points that you've already said, to be honest, mate. For me, it does kind of peak at Perfect. Peak at Perfect. The rest of it, I'm not really too fussed about. If you could see Callum, he's bouncing up and down in agreement with me. I can't remember the other one that I liked quite a bit, which just goes to show how I didn't re-listen to this album.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's all I have to say, really. I think Callum was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, Callum.
Yes.
This is the first time. You've only just recently listened to this for the first time, haven't you?
Yeah, I presume it was shortly after you recommended that Yanni listened to them. Yanni recommended that I listen to them. And I can't imagine I listened to Perfect because I listened to it the other day, and excuse my French, but fuck me, it's a tune.
It is.
And I also liked In Unison on the album, but I actually feel like the album is hindered by how good Perfect is. Because
Would you say it's perfect, Callum?
the song, yes. Album, no, I'm afraid.
Fucking hell.
I was just really bored in some places, and honestly just wished I was listening to Perfect again. I'd just like to say as well, As the Sun Sets, the melody in that really reminded me of Supreme by Robbie Williams, and I don't know why. Honest to God, I was listening to it. I was in the kitchen, it was on the telly, and all I could fathom in my brain was Supreme by Robbie Williams.
I don't know that song. but I'll
You
trust
do.
you on that.
You do know it.
You definitely know Supreme
don't-
by Robbie
okay.
Yeah,
Williams.
I didn't
Maybe
know
I
what the
do. I don't
name
know
was
by
of the song, so I had to go through Robbie Williams' greatest hits and just find out which song I
That's
meant.
That's not a bad half hour.
But yeah, I did
Really?
I did like it. I'm excited to see what the band do next, and if they release anything anywhere near as good as Perfect, I'll be into it.
I hope so. I think they're currently recording something I'll have not long finished, so looking forward to something else.
Jolly good.
But yes, that's my top 10. So to run through in super speed. Number 10, we have Idol's Ultra Mono. Number 9, Disc Collector. Number 8 is The Night Chanters by Baxter Dury. Number 7, Sundowner by Kevin Morby. Number 6, The Neon Skyline by Andy Schauf. What number is that? 5, Everything Else Has Gone Wrong by Bombay Bicycle Club. Number 4, The New Abnormal by The Strokes. Number 3, Zeros by Declan McKenna. Number 2, Deep Down Happy by Sports Team. And number 1, 925 by Sorry.
I've got a couple of questions for you, Ian.
Okay,
now
some
that we've
follow-ups.
rounded this up. I'll start on the downers. Anything
good.
this year that you
Mhm.
feel like you've grown out of? Like you used to
Ooh.
listen to a lot or love, and then this year you've just been like, I'm not really a fan of this.
That's a good question, Yanni.
It is.
However, I don't have an answer for you.
Well- Hopefully that's because there isn't.
Yeah, I don't think there is. In terms of, if I was just to make that a bit easier and just say bands,
Mm.
who have I been into lately that I've not really stuck with? I think the last few years has mostly been kind of Sports Team and Idols, and I guess you've just heard my thoughts on Idols. Up until this year, I've not been very much in sync with modern music. I haven't listened to much. Bang on, Yanni. Good question. Fantastic. Okay, so one of my favourite bands of all time, Pavement. Lead singer Steve Malcolmus has a lot of solo stuff. He released an album this year, Traditional Techniques, which wasn't even an honourable mention. Definitely wasn't a high point for me at all.
No.
And if that doesn't tell you about the state of 2020, I don't know what will. It was sad when I was doing the top 10. I realised he's released an album, and I was like, it's not even thought about it. If he'd pushed back Groove Denied by 7 months, maybe that would have been in the top 10, but he didn't. So yeah, maybe you can class that as that. But I guess it's a solo piece of work. He does, like the album before it, Groove Denied, kind of different to stuff he does with Jix and whatever.
So that's not
Does that
answered
make
that
sense?
question, but answered a different question I had.
Okay, well, let me answer that question then. I've just thought, I haven't really listened to much Elliott Smith this year.
Okay. All right. And the most underwhelming album then would be the Steve Malcolmus one.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Without thinking of a better answer.
Like, highly
Okay.
anticipated, and then it was just a heaping pile of shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that bad, and I wouldn't say I highly anticipated it that much. Probably because the first single I didn't really like. But yeah, we'll go with that. But I don't have any bad feelings towards Steve Malcolm. She's still fantastic.
Yes. And one of your favourite questions. Any... I've worded this wrong because I'm not understanding the question I wrote down. Any new artist you've discovered this year
That aren't from
Maybe
the year.
that
I
aren't
presume.
from this year, or you haven't mentioned that maybe
Yeah.
you'd like to mention now? Perhaps?
So the band Twin Peaks, discovered this year for the first time, and very much into all their discography. I love it. I think it's all brilliant. Probably one of my most played bands of this year, to be honest, but possibly more than a lot of the top 10. But sadly, they didn't release anything this year. So I'd probably go with Twin Peaks. There is another specific album that I discovered this year.
Do tell.
I think I shared this one with you. I think you may have listened to it.
Oh, I might have something
Which
to
is
say.
Third Eye Blind's debut album, Third Eye Blind, which has also been a soundtrack to this year. It's a very, very good album from the 90s. Maybe
is.
1990, possibly.
What? No, it's much later than that. It's like
Was it 97?
97, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I got 90 from. I think it's 97.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and particularly his on Graduate, because it's such a fucking good song.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I've listened to that album an awful lot this year.
Yes, thank
But
you
none of
for...
the other stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly. Thank you for recommending that album to me as well, because that's changed my year massively as well.
You're welcome.
Is there any questions that you wish we would have asked you right now?
Well, I have not yet been given the floor.
Oh,
What
Callum's
kind
here.
of question
Hi,
is
Callum.
that?
I was going to say, you
Hi,
stole two of my questions there.
You're
But
welcome.
I'm going to create one now, off the top of my head.
Off the dome.
Bonds.
Are there any albums that you are particularly excited for that have already been announced are coming? Or any bands that you wish will release something this year?
Go for the Wish one.
Oh, yeah, go on. I was going to say break them up into two.
You do you, honey.
I was going to start with the Wish one. I think a very basic one is I hope Arctic Monkeys bring something out. And I hope it's better than the last album. Pavement was supposed to reunite. I really just want them to make more music. Supposed to reunite last year and for Primavera, which got cancelled. They're still playing this year, if it goes ahead. Hopefully they release something. I'd like to hear more stuff from the Jicks again. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else in particular off the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot of bands that I guess are due an album that I'd want, but I don't know if there's any that I'm... Like, I'd like another good album from Metronomy, but I didn't love their last album. Yeah, I think that'll be my list there. The other question was albums I'm looking forward to.
That have already been announced, yes.
Already been announced. Well, there's two coming up very soon. One of which is our album Spotlight for episode 7, I think. Which is Welfare Jazz by Viagra Boys. Very much looking forward to that. Also the album from Shame, Drunk Tank Pink. Looking forward to that. Black Country New Roads album.
Yeah, Goat Girl.
Goat Girl, yeah. I've never really been massive into Goat Girl, but I do.
You liked the last
did
tune,
like
didn't
that
you?
single.
Yeah.
Yeah, that single that came out was really good. Yeah, looking forward to see something from that. Actually, to be honest, there's probably quite a few singles we've listened to throughout that I'd be looking forward to an album from, but I don't know if any have been announced necessarily.
I don't know about you, Yanni, but I'm ecstatic for the Black Country New Road album to be released.
I cannot wait. You know what? It's the first time I've heard about it, and just from that one mention alone, I'm on the edge of
Is the album
office chair.
Did this on purpose, but I think the album is called For the First Time.
I didn't do that on purpose. I'm just naturally gifted in that way.
Although I very well may have made it up. I did just have something right. Oh, Jack Johnson. I hope he releases something this year. It's not been announced, but that last single was good.
Very good.
But yeah, that's
Thank
about it.
you.
Any more questions? Any more thoughts?
No.
Absolutely not. Thought, is this coming to an end?
It is coming to an end.
Okay.
And on that note, I'd like to thank you both for joining me on this journey. I'd like to thank all listeners for listening to me chatting absolute crap. Black Country New Road album is called For the First Time, so that was very strange, Johnny, that you said that. Listen to Callum's top 10 from last week. Listen to Yanni's top 10
Surely
next week.
you'll have already done that.
And
We've discussed this.
yeah, definitely should have. And on the 28th, I think, possibly if that's Thursday,
Yep.
our collective top 10 will be out. So please listen to that. And also our weekly podcasts. Anything else to cover, Callum?
Just
yeah,
where can
just,
they follow us?
Yeah.
Oh,
just-
yes, of course.
Yeah, you do it, Liam.
Of course.
I've done everything
Well,
else.
Falls on a Hill podcast on Insta, Facebook, and on Twitter it's at Falls on a Hill Pod. That's it. Is it? There are playlists available for our normal episodes, but I don't think there's going to be. Oh, maybe there will.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're also going to start putting these on YouTube, so I presume there will be a
Yes.
backlog of stuff by the time you hear this.
Mm-hmm.
I presume.
If we can make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can go to
We're hoping to do
moving
it.
forward.
We're hoping to do visual stuff as well, but
yeah.
Even if we can't, I'll
So-
still put the MP3s on there because it's just another place for
Yeah.
people to listen to in a minute.
someone else to listen. So keep an eye out for that. And on that note, thanks again. May 2021 be better than 2020, please. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.